Right, okay. I'm going to show you first of all what we're going to make. What we're going to make today is this bit. Oh, hang on. Let me just get those out of the way. Is this bit. Okay? Nope, not a glass mat, not slush puppies. I think you mean hush puppies.
No, slushies.
Slush puppies.
Slushies.
Oh, the slushies. Oh no, I don't like cold stuff. So what we're going to make is, we're not going to make the inserts, that's coming later. But we are going to make these flappy pockets. So there's a pocket there, which these bits can go into. And there's a belly band, which is what this attachment, what attaches to it, but we're not going to be doing that. So we've got two flaps which open up, and then we've got pockets here and here, and then we've got flaps here and there that have pockets underneath. Okay, turn that over, and we've got this bit which has got a little closure there and a belly band with a stacked pocket. Okay, that opens up. So we've got just an ordinary long pocket there, 3 more of our photo mats there, and just an ordinary pocket on the back. And I've just realised I've forgotten to actually put this bit in the instructions, but I can add that on, not a problem. So that's what I want to do tonight. So I guess we had better get on with it. Okay, so that's what we're going to make. So first of all, we're going to make these pocket bits. We're going to do this step by step. And we're going to do those pocket bits. By the way, if you've ordered anything this week, number 1, thank you, because it has been a phenomenal week. Number 2, everything's gone out today as planned. So I'll be sending you all your tracking numbers later, but it's all good. So these bits, that's what we're going to make first. Okay, so let me just grab my cutting guide. And we will start. So what I want you to do is I want you to grab your trimmer and some of your base card. Now, I might end up using 12 by 12 here, only simply because I haven't brought any of the black up with me. Hang on. Let's just see what I've got here. I've got some odds and ends of bits. Oh, I'm going to knock everything off. Okay. Right. So, we're going to cut those 2 flappy bits first of all. Right. So, I want you to... I've printed out the wrong page. Oh, for goodness sake. Mark, can you print me out a...
Which page is it? Page 3?
Yeah. Of number 3. Oh, stupid woman.
I know I should have printed it.
Oh no, I should have let you do it in the first place. It would have been a lot better. Alright, so... Oh no, I haven't.
Oh, I've just printed
No, I haven't. See what I mean? It's been a really hard week this week. Okay, so... we're going to start by cutting those flaps. So, I want you to score... I want you to...
Shall we start again?
Should we just start again? Right. Grab some of your 12 by 12 papers, ladies and gents. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut out that one page and just get it out of the way. Okay? So I want you to cut a piece that is 12 inches by 9 3/4 inches. Okay, so that's our flap side. Right, so just put that to one side for now. And now what we're going to do is we're going to cut those flaps out. So I want you to cut 2 pieces, because we've got 2 flaps, at 8 3/4 by 6 inches. Now you're not going to be able to cut it that way on an A4. So if you cut it this way, I want you to cut it at 8 3/4 inches We're only going to get one out of each sheet, so keep your offcuts for photo mats, by 6 inches. And we're going to want 2 of those. So that's 8 3/4 by 6 inches. Okay, now I want you to cut out the pockets which go on here, and we're going to cut those at 7 by 6.5 inches, and there's 2 of those. So 7 by 6.5 inches. And then finally, I want to cut out the belly band that goes on top of those pockets. So we're cutting 2 pieces at 2 by 7 inches. So you might find, if I've been clever, which naturally I have, you can use some of your offcuts to cut that. So that's 2 by 7 inches, and you want 2 of those. Okay, put your trimmer to one side. Oh, and grab your scoreboard. So we're going to start off with that page, which is going to form the base of our left hand side page, and I want you to score on the 9 3/4 inch side. So we're going to put the 9 3/4 inch side at the top. And we are going to score at 3/4 of an inch and at 1 inch. Oh, didn't do that very straight. And at 1 inch. So what we've got there are 2 parallel score lines, and they're going to form our gusset. Okay? Sally, don't tell Mark you're eating dinner. He's already saying that he's not happy because I haven't fed him yet. Right, so grab the next 2 pieces that we cut, which are the base flaps that go on top of there, and I want you to score on the 8 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch and at 5/8 of an inch. And what that means is that we have got a very thin gusset. Okay, so we've got there just an 1/8 of an inch gusset, and that's the same on both pieces. So we are scoring at 1/2 inch and at 5/8 of an inch. So we've just got a very, very, very small gusset on those 2 pieces. Okay, so next of all, we're grabbing the pockets, which are 7 by 6.5 inches. And we're going to score on the 7 inch side, so the 7 inches at the top. We are going to score at 1/2 inch, and we are going to score at 6.5 inches. Turn it round 90 degrees, so we're now scoring on the 6.5 inch side. Well, actually, Jill, I'm lying to you. He is big enough to feed himself, but the truth of the matter is that he does the cooking these days. And he doesn't finish work till late, so it's my fault, really. We're going to score on the 6.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. So this is a normal pocket, and we've got the 3 intersecting score lines there, and I'm just going to double check that that fits. Yes, I always have a bit of a panic about that bit. So same on the other one. We're going to score on the 7 inch side. Oh, here's Storm. Hang on. She walks very purposefully everywhere, like straight across the screen. So I call her my purposeful puss. Hang on, I've now got a cat bed on the desk, so she wants to sit on it. Right, do you want me to unroll it? Just make your mind up. Right, sorry about the cat hairs. So, don't know what she's doing. Right, so we're going to score on the 7-inch side at 1/2 inch and at 6.5 inches. Squidge it round 90 degrees and just score on the 6.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. So last of all, the belly bands, you know what's coming here. It's not rocket science. We're going to score on the 7-inch side at 1/2 inch and at 6.5 inches. Let me just double check that. Oh, wrong way. Yeah, that's right. So we're going to score on the 7-inch side at 1/2 inch and at 6.5 inches. And then you can put your scoreboard away for now. Right. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make our pockets. Now, the flaps will actually sit like that on the page, with our pockets on top like that and the belly band on top of the pocket. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to mitre the corner of the pocket, and as Mel calls it, kinky mitering. So we're going to snip up to where the score lines intersect, turn our scissors a little and just snip off those corners. Oh, she's gone to sleep now, so we're going to get some snoring. Right. Oh, covered up me rubbish. Right, okay. And now we're just going to fold on those score lines to make our pockets the same way that we always make our pockets. And we're going to burnish that down. And that's the same for both of them. And we're going to do exactly the same with our belly bands. Just fold over on the score lines there and there. And burnish. Same on both of them. Okay, so probably the easiest way to go about doing this is to attach our pockets first of all. So if you want to grab one of your flaps with the small gusset here, what we're going to do is we are going to attach this pocket to that flap up to where that score line is, that first part of the gusset. I don't know if you can see that, with the pocket pointing away from that gusset, okay? So grab some glue, and I had a little bit of an incident with my glue the other day. I've given up on the sponge idea because I never remembered to fill it up with water, although it did work very, very well when it worked, when I remembered. I need something that's impervious to human error.
Error?
No, not you, dear. Although you do come close. Right, so I've got my glue on my flaps, and I'm just going to attach that And I'll show you in a moment. I'll just make sure it's got stuck down well, and I'll show you. I'm going to attach that pocket tiny bits, millimetres of millimetres away from that score line. I haven't done that very well, it's because I'm not looking over it. Honestly, I am my own worst enemy.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Always taking my books to bits, so I haven't glued them properly. Let's try again. Joy's being a perfectionist. Ooh, she says. Right, I'm just going to take this off screen a second so I can see what I'm doing. So let me line that up. That's better. And I'll just glue that down, and then I'll show you what I've done so it becomes clear. Okay, so if you have a look at this, my pocket here is this end so that it's facing away from where the gusset is at this end, so that when I fold that gusset now, there's just a tiny space between where that score line is of the gusset and where I've actually attached the pocket. There's just a tiny space. Okay, now I'm going to grab my belly band, and how you attach this now depends on how particular you are, because this belly band needs to go in the center of this pocket. Now you can measure it, but I just eyeball it. See, that's near enough. So now what I've got is I've got my pocket and I've got my belly band attached to the front of that pocket. Okay, and I'm going to do exactly the same with the other one in exactly the same way. It doesn't need to face any different way, it's just the same. So I'm going to attach some glue. And I'm going to attach that to the flap. Slightly away from the gusset. And once again, I'm going to attach my belly band, but cheating this time, because I can do it easily, is if I line those two up together, I can see exactly where I put my belly band, and I can line that up like that, so that I know that it's in exactly the same place as the other one. Okay? Easy. And that's the front of those flaps done. So that is, hang on, just let me put my pin back in. This bit, this flap, sorry Storm, God, just poked Storm. That's this bit. So it's like I said, we'll do the inserts later on, but we've just made this pocket bit. So there's a pocket there for that, and the belly band where we will put this insert when we come to make it later. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn that flap over, and we are going to make the pockets that go in here, there and there, and we're going to make the flap that goes over the top. However, we will do these at the same time, but as you can see, these are slightly bigger than these pockets. They are indeed two different sizes. So we will cut them all out at the same time, because they are actually exactly the same in terms of style, but they are slightly different sizes. So that's what we're going to do now. So if you just pop those to one side for now, I'll get Storm to look after mine. Grab your trimmer. And we'll cut those pockets and those two flaps. Okay? Right, so grab some card. I'm going to have to resort to 12 by 12 card in a minute, but you don't need to use 12 by 12 card for any of this. So, first of all, we are going to cut 2 at 3 by 9 inches.
3 1/4, 3 1/2, isn't it?
Hey? Yeah, 3.5 by 9 inches. Thank you. So I'll cut that to 9 inches first. And then I'm going to cut 2 at 3.5. Okay. And I want to cut 1 flap cover. And I'm going to cut that at, oh, hang on, I'll find some more A4. I am going to cut that at 5.5 by 8 inches. So 5.5 by 8 inches, and that's the flap that goes over the top. In the instructions I've called it an envelope flap because I couldn't really think what else to call it. So now we are going to cut out the slightly longer pockets for the other side, and these are cut at 9.5 by 3.5 inches. So as you can see, they're just marginally longer. So 9.5 by 3.5 inches, and you want 2 of those. Oh yeah, Storm. It's a back paw. Okay, and now we're going to cut the flap for that bit, which will be slightly different, of course. And I'm going to have to resort to my 12 by 12 now. You can just cut this out of ordinary A4. And I'm going to cut that at 5.5 by 8.5 inches. So 5.5 by 8.5 inches. Okay. So we can put our scoreboard to one side for now.
And cutter.
Cutter. Oh, for goodness sake.
Early night.
It's been a very exciting week as well, because we've taken delivery of lots of nice new things, and I've got all the Scrappy Knits chipboard downstairs to sort out as well. So all I can just tell you is that I am overexcited, and that is my excuse. I don't know why I've got those out because I don't need them. Right, scoreboards. Okay. Hang on, cat problem. Grab the smaller pockets. These are the ones that are 9 by 3.5 inches. And we are going to score on the 9-inch side at 1/2 inch and at 8.5 inches. Scoot it round 90 degrees and score on the 3.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. This is a basic pocket that we have made many times before, and both of those are exactly the same. So on the 9-inch side, score at 1/2 inch and at 8.5 inches. Oh goodness sake. Scoot it round 1/2 inch and score at scoot it round 1/2 inch. What the heck is wrong with me tonight? Should we just come back and do this another day?
2023.
Score on the 3.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. Flap. Envelope flap. The little one. This is the one that we cut 5.5 by 8 inches. I want you to score on the 5.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. Simple as that. Even I can manage that this evening. Great. Okay, so the bigger pockets. These measure 9.5 by 3.5. I am flipping having gin, Mel, I tell you. As soon as we're finished here, I am having gin. Oh, I don't know. No, I think I can have gin tonight. I was trying to think if I had to get anything done for tomorrow. I think I'm all right. Right, so we're going to score on the 9.5 inch side at 1/2 inch and at 9 inches. Scoot it round 90 degrees and score on the 3.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. And we're doing exactly the same on the other one. So we're scoring on the 9 inch side at 1/2 inch and at 9 inches, and then on the 3.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. Have I confused you? I do hope so, because I'm confused. A double, a triple, Anne, at least. Right, flap, big flap, 5.5 by 8.5 inches. We're scoring on the 5.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. Okay, you can pop your scoreboard away for now. See, I said it right that time, scoreboard.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to start off with the easy bit, which is the back of these flaps, okay? So that's how they're going to sit in the book. And then when they open, they're going to be that way round, okay? And we're going to put the little pockets and the little flap on those. So, as with all of these basic pockets, we're going to mitre those corners. Snipping up to the score line where they intersect and just chopping them off there. Okay, and then we're going to fold on those score lines. And burnish. Oh, thank you to everybody who bought these. I've nearly sold out. I had a year's supply there. But I'm going to try one of the little ones to see what the difference is, because I've never really explored it totally. So I'm going to give it a go. I meant to do it tonight, but I left it downstairs. So watch this space, and then I'll be able to be all knowledgeable and tell you what the difference is really. Okay, and now I'm going to fold that, which is the shorter one. This envelope bit, I'm just going to fold that on the score line like that, and I'm just going to burnish it. No, Mel, I'm going to see if size is important. I'll be able to report back, ladies. Right. Flaps. Doesn't matter which way up they go, because at this point it doesn't matter. So if you want to turn it over so that now your score lines are on the right hand side, and what we're going to do is we're going to attach this pocket to the very bottom of this flap like that, and you'll notice that there will be a very small gap here between the that score line and where that's glued down. So on the other side we had to eyeball it. This time it's done for you. If you remember to attach your pocket to the far left as it will go. Okay, so let's just attach that. you wanted to put those envelope flap bits on each of them, you can. It's entirely up to you. Oh, Linda, I am glad. Oh, Bianca, I haven't, but I'll tell you what I do miss. Berliner Weisse. Used to love that. With either Waldmeister or, yeah, with the Waldmeister syrup. That was lovely. So I'm going to do exactly the same on the other one. Okay. Kerry's only got a small one and it's very satisfactory. She hasn't experienced a big one. I'm the other way round. I'm going to find out if the small ones are all they're cracked up to be, but they do say it's how you use it. Yes, I like raspberry, the raspberry one. Not Aired Bear, is it? That's strawberry. What's the raspberry one? I can't remember. Right, so flap, bit that goes over. Doesn't matter which one you attach it to at this point, either is absolutely fine. So put some glue on your flap there. Let me just put my pin in while I think about it. I'm working on the back of the flaps bit, Jane. And I'm going to attach that right to the very top. Over the pocket, so it goes over the pocket. Like that. Okay, so now I've got these two pages. I've got the flaps, and on the front it's got the pocket with the belly band, and then when I turn it over I've got one long pocket, and I've got one long pocket with an envelope flap over the top. Okay, now with the envelope flap and the long pockets, Himbeer, that's right, yes, I remember. Thank you, Bianca. We don't have Waldmeister over here, you know. I've never seen it anywhere else but Germany, and it's quite a unique taste. Sorry, focus, easily distracted. With the long pocket on the top, I want you to fold your flap so that you've got those little tiny gussets. As you can see here, it's got a little tiny gusset there, and I want you to do that on both. Okay, so now when we attach this to the book, we're going to put the glue down this side. We're going to stick it to the page like that, so that this will open on that flap there, and we've got a little bit of a gusset, and we've got a long pocket and a long pocket with a flap. Now it's entirely up to you which way round we attach these in the book. You might want the envelope flap pocket on the top, you might want it on the bottom. It doesn't matter, it's entirely up to you. So grab the piece that we made earlier, this piece that we cut that's got the 1/4 inch gusset. We'll just fold it now just to give it an idea of where it's going to go, although we will need to flatten it out again. It's just to have some sort of an idea, see, because that's going to go into our book like that. Okay, open it up, and what we need to do now is attach these two pockets, one to the top and one to the bottom of that page, so that they open up like that. But just bear in mind that once it's open, you're going to have your envelope pocket, the flap on one side. Whether it goes on the top or the bottom is up to you. In my original book, I put it on the bottom. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop some glue onto that flap up to that first gusset line. and I am going to attach it to the bottom of this page, lining up the thin gusset to the edge of the gusset here on that page, making sure it all lines up well. So now what you can see is this is my page. Here's my flap pocket, and when I open it up, I've got the envelope flap there with the pocket there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to attach this pocket, this flap pocket, in exactly the same way. So I'm going to put some glue on that flap, and I am going to line, and just make sure that you get your pocket the right way round. Don't go and turn it the wrong way round. I'm just going to attach that there to my page, and it should fit pretty much almost exactly. Make sure it's straight at the top here, and open that up. Okay, so what I've got now is, here is my page, my flaps. Excuse me, I'm just going to get rid of this bit of wire and knock it, and those open up like that, and I've got my pocket.
Do you put a magnet on the envelope flap?
You can do. I haven't. There is going to be a magnet on this, but it's going to be on a closure piece on the other side, okay, when we get to this side. But you can do, if you've got enough magnets, absolutely, but I haven't on mine. That will sit flatter once it gets used to, you know, the way that we want it to lie. So what I've got here is I've got a space where I'm going to put my pocket, and I've got another envelope flap. So I'm just going to put that to one side for a minute.
What weight is your card?
My cardstock is roughly 240 GSM. We call it 4 sheet over here in the UK. So it's roughly 240. It certainly doesn't want to be a great deal more than that, because it's going to be a little bit unwieldy to manage. So we've got our bigger pockets here. Same procedure, and say it again, sorry Bianca, same procedure as last year. We're going to just snip those corners off. Oh, lost my pen. Hang on. There we go. And I'm going to fold and burnish the pocket, and I'm also going to fold and burnish the flap on the envelope flap. Well, I've called it the envelope flap because I didn't really know what else to call it, to be honest. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start with the bottom one because it's easier, and I'll show you why. Open up those flat pages that we've just made. Pop some glue onto the flaps of the pocket. and we are going to attach this to the bottom part of that page. So we're going to start in the bottom right hand corner, and we're going to attach it. We're going to have a slight gap between where the end of our pocket is and where that gusset starts, the edge of our page. That is deliberate. It'll make everything sit a lot flatter. Okay, so that bottom pocket, I'll just burnish it a bit more because it doesn't hurt, is now in. We're going to pop in this one, but rather than measure where it goes, I'm going to match it up with the pocket on the left hand side of that flap. Ooh. So you might get my head in a minute because I'm probably going to have to lean over it. Oh, sorry dear. So you can see here where that matches up. I'm going to make sure that lines up there, matches to that side. Let's just make sure that's, oh, now I've moved it. Oh, typical. I'm going to match that up. Just make sure it's straight-ish. And that's all lined up now. So I've got two pockets, one there and one there, which line up and match the pockets there and there. This flap I'm going to put up there so that I've got the opposite. You can put them there and there, you can put them there and there, you can give them all flaps. It's entirely up to you, whatever you wish. Just bear in mind when you're cutting them that they are different widths because the pages are slightly different widths.
Bianca has asked you a question.
Okay, 2 seconds, just let me pop this on and I'll put my glasses back on and have a look. So I'm going to line this up at the very top of my page and I'm going to glue that down and line it up. I've lost my glasses. Oh, I wish you could see the view that I've got here. Bianca, there is absolutely nothing wrong with doing it the way that you're suggesting, you're decorating. One of the reasons why I don't do it like that is because as far as the class goes, if I were to do that, we'd be here all night, and I'm sure some of you wouldn't mind, but you know, Mark's hungry. Yeah. So that's one reason why, but I will say that I do tend to decorate my pages before I add them into a book for sure. So you've got to just find what works for you. You know, decorating in, you know, in whatever way you want to. So that's done. We've got the flaps and we've got that page done. Okay. All right. So that all opens up now, and we've got our envelope flaps there and there. Okay. Right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sort out the back. Now this back bit comes in two pieces, so I'll show you what we're going to do before we do it. Storm, I apologise. I'm having to work around the cats, it's terrible this is. Right, so we've done this front bit, okay? You can see we've got our flaps there and we've got those bits that we've just made. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to make this right hand page that attaches to the back of the page that we've just made, and that's got a stacked pocket. I'm losing everything now. That does have a magnetic closure, so bear that in mind when you're decorating, Sue, because it's easily done for getting magnets, so easily done. So that's what we're going to work on next, and then we'll do it the other way around in the tutorial. We're going to add our closure, these 3 mats that we did something similar last week, and then we're going to make that pocket, that large pocket that goes in there. Okay, So let's concentrate on this page now. So this is the page where we've got a belly band, a stacked pocket, and then just an ordinary long pocket on the reverse. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So grab your trimmer and your card. I'm using 12 by 12 card only simply because I've not brought any of the oh, hang on, secret stash of A4. Right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to cut that let me just see. I'm just trying, because I printed this out in black and white again. I can't see which bits are in purple. Sorry, Storm. In blue even.
There's only the belly band.
There's only the belly band and the long pocket. Fantastic. Okay, so that actual page I've described here as the flap. So this is 11 by 8 and 1/8 of an inch. That's odd. Why have I done it that size? Oh, this is exciting. I'm going to find out. Right, 8 and 1/8 of an inch. God knows why. I'm sure it'll become clear. By 11 inches. Oh, I know why. I reckon we've got another gusset coming up. So that's the page bit. Okay. Then we're going to cut the belly band piece for the front of that, and you are going to need some of your 12 by 12 card that you've got left over. And you're going to cut that at 12 by 3 3/4 inches. So you only need to cut it at 3 3/4 inches really. There we go. Now, we might as well, while we're here, cut the pocket actually for that, for the other side of that, and that is 12 by 4 inches. Okay. Now what I want to cut are the stacked pockets that go on the front of our belly band, and we are going to cut those. We're going to cut one, and you might be able to use some of your offcuts here if they're not full. Cal, let me have them. We're going to cut the first one at 3 by 4 3/4 inches. So 3 by 4 3/4 inches. Okay, just a little piece. Now I need you to cut 3 more. And they're all at exactly the same size. And I want you to cut those at 2.5 by 4 3/4 inches. So 2.5 by 4 3/4 inches. Storm's eating my paper. And I want 3 of those. Get off! 4 3/4 inches by 2.5. Okay. Right, so pop your trimmer away. She's after my... Just stop it. Oh. Never work with children and animals. Well, I don't work with children. And then there's Mark. Right, moving swiftly on. Our page. I know I'm funny. This is the page bit, the flap that goes on our page that we've already made. So, oh, Storm, just, you're not helping. So we have got our flap, which measures 11 by 8 1/8 of an inch. We are going to score on the 8 1/8 of an inch side, at 1/2 inch and at 5/8 of an inch. So we have got a 1/8 of an inch gusset. Okay. Now grab your belly band, which was 12 by 3 3/4 of an inch, and we're going to score on the 12-inch side, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch, and we are going to score at 11.5 inches. Okay. Right, we might as well score the back pocket while we're here. The pocket, we're going to score on the 12-inch side, and this is the piece that's 12 by 4 inches. And we're going to score at 1/2 inch by 11.5 inches. Who's not very well? Wendy. Oh, lovely Wendy, I'll message you later. And we're going to score on the 4-inch side at 1/2 inch. So we've just got the basic pocket that we always have. Right, the stacked pockets. We've got 1 slightly larger piece and 3 smaller. The slightly larger piece is the bottom pocket, which we're going to score in exactly the same way as every pocket. So we're going to score that at 1/2 inch and at 4 1/4 inches. Scoot it round 90 degrees and score on the 3-inch side at 1/2 inch. Okay, right. These other 3 are slightly different. Okay, so just bear this in mind when we are. I haven't put the score marks on it. That was a bit silly. Never mind. When we're scoring these are 4 1/4 by 2.5 inches. I want you to score on the 4 1/4 inch side at 1/2 inch, at 4 1/4 inches. Scoot it round. Let me just check something before we actually do it. Where did I put my book? Oh, it's fallen over. That's why I can't find it. Let me just check something. Right. I'm going to have to measure it. Rather than me give you duff information. Again.
Which piece is it you scored?
I'm scoring. Oh, hang on. Oh, no, I was going to do it right. That's a relief. Right, these are the 3 pieces that we've cut for the stack pocket, and they measure 4 3/4 by 2.5 inches. So we've scored on the 4 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch and at 4 3/4 inches. Scoot it round 90 degrees, but don't score at 1/2 inch. I want you to score at 1 inch. So this is what we've got. Okay, we've got our usual pocket shape, but we've got an inch here, not 1/2 inch, and that is exactly the same on all 3. So we're scoring on the 4 1/4 inch side at 1/2 inch and at 4 1/4 inches, scooting it round and scoring at 1 inch. Okay. Now that mark at 1 inch doesn't do anything else than just provide us with a guide as to how we're going to put the pockets together, but it's still a really useful thing. We're not actually going to fold on it, but it will all become clear. So now we've done that, we can pop our scoreboard away for now. Right, so here's our page, here's our belly band. Fold your belly band in the way that we always do and score and burnish that. We're not going to stick it on yet
Is it 4 1/4?
It's 4 1/4, but you're scoring at... No, hang on. It's not. It's 4 3/4, isn't it?
I thought that.
Yeah, it's 4 3/4. Sorry, Helen. 4 3/4. I hope. Yeah, 4 3/4, and you're scoring at half and 4 3/4. Okay, so it looks like that, and then 1 inch there. So if we build up the stacked pocket before we actually glue this onto our page, I think we might find it a little bit easier. So I want you to grab these 3 of stacked pockets. And I want you to grab this one first, which is the very bottom one, the one that goes on first. But it's the same as any other pocket that we make. So snip up to the corner. Fold that over. And burnish. So we've got a good sharp crease. And what we're going to do is we're going to attach this to the very bottom of our belly band up to where that score line is. So you can see the score line, and we're going to attach that at the very bottom with the pocket bit here pointing upwards, okay? So grab some glue. And attach that to your belly band, the very bottom of your belly band. It should fit exactly, if I've told you the right size. So now our pocket is here at the top, okay? Now, to make the stack pockets, we're going to do some weird cutting. So what I want you to do is I want you to grab these other 3 pockets that we've got, and I want you to hold it. Well, I'm holding it this way because I'm left-handed, although I've got my scissors in my right hand. So, right, this probably should work if you're right-handed. The belly band is 12 by 3 3/4 inches, Helen. I want you to snip up to where that score line intersects at an angle. So this is the inch piece, and that is the 1.5 inch piece there. And I want you to do that on both sides. Okay, so just like we would mitering any corner, we've just cut up to where those score lines intersect. But this bit is 1.5 inches and this is 1 inch. Now what we want to do, and I find it easy to do from the bottom, you might not, is I am going to cut up to the score lines where they intersect, like that, so that that is now how I've mitered that corner. Okay, so that is what this piece looks like. It's a little bit different. It looks a little bit different to how we normally miter pockets because that bit is 1 inch and not 1/2 inch. Okay, and we're going to do that on each piece. So snip up to where the score lines intersect on the 1.5 inch piece, and then on the 1 inch piece we're just going to snip up that way. Now if you do it the wrong way round, which you inevitably will do because I've done it wrong-ish 1,000 times, you can either recut it or don't worry about it and just do it upside down. It won't make the slightest bit of difference. It just means you're going to have a slightly shorter pocket showing. It doesn't matter. It will work just as well. Okay, so now I've got my 3 stack pockets that look like that. The only folds that we make are those side ones like that. Those are the only folds that we make. And we do that on each of the pockets. We don't fold on that score line there. That score line there is a guide for us to help us get it straight. So I'm going to burnish those. I'm only going to burnish on one side at this point, and I'll tell you for why. Because I have made many stack pockets in my time, and trust me, they do not always fit, no matter how good you are, how experienced you are. So I've burnished on one side, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to check it fits before I burnish the other. So I'm going to put my pocket that way round, and I am going to use this end as a guide to slip it inside that pocket there, and I am just going to check that that fits before I burnish it, which it does, which is a minor miracle, because it doesn't always, as I said, no matter how experienced you are, sometimes these things just don't fit. So as you can see, that score line that we made at 1 inch, it's my guide, and it shows me exactly where I need to put this down so that that is a straight edge. Okay, so I'm going to put a little, oh no, I'm not, I'm going to burnish. Now I know that that fits, I'm going to burnish the other side. And I'm going to put a spot of glue onto those flaps there, those 2, just like that. That's the only place we put the glue. And I'm going to slip it into that pocket up to where that score line is, and I am going to glue that down and make sure that it fits. They are tricky little beggars, these, I warn you, but they look so good. A bit like cats, really. Still got a pause here. Okay, so next one, I'm going to check it for size. I'm going to slip it into there, and it does fit, but it's quite tight. So what I might do when I burnish this bit is I'm going to just make sure that I pull it in marginally before I burnish it down, so that essentially what I'm doing is making that pocket a tiny fraction smaller, so that when I pop it in there it becomes the right size. So I can slip it up to where my score line is, pop some glue on those 2 flaps, pop that in there, line it all up to that score line, and glue that down. I haven't done that very well. It's at an angle now. That's my fault. I haven't put it in right. Okay, there we go. So now I've got 3 pockets on my stack pocket. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to add my final one. But before I do it, bye Tracy, I'm just going to check it for size and make sure that that fits in. Okay, that one did. So I'm going to just burnish it. And I'm going to pop that in there. Sorry, disturbed storm. Great start. Just make sure that's in right. Okay. So that's my belly band with the stacked pocket. Okay. Now I'm going to attach this belly band to the front of the piece that we cut earlier. So I'm just going to fold, so I've got my very small gusset, which was 1/8 of an inch. like that. The flap goes underneath. So when I lay it down, that gusset is on the left hand side. And I'm going to attach my belly band. In the centre of that flap. You can measure it if you want. I'm just going to guess it because that's how I roll. And that's the front of my page with the belly band. Now I'm looking at it, I've done that stack pocket really badly. But it was great at the angle I had it at. Never mind. You won't notice when it's decorated up. Okay. Right, so there's the front of my page with the belly band. Now we're going to put this pocket, this long pocket that we did, on the other side. So I'm going to snip off my corners. And I'm going to fold. Oops.
Which way up is the gusset?
The gusset, when you're putting your belly band on, the gusset goes on the left hand side. So here's my belly band. I'm attaching it to the front of that, so it goes onto the left hand side. The gusset is here, okay? Right, so I've got my long pocket. I'm now going to turn that over. This page is 11 inches. Once we've put it in, it's going to be 11 inches by 7.5 inches. This is, I'll show you which page this is. This is this page here, the page that goes on the other. This is the bit that we did earlier. This is the back of that page, and this is what we're working on right now, this bit here, okay? So I'm going to turn that over, so my belly band is now underneath. And my gusset is now to the right. And I'm going to attach this long pocket just marginally away from where the gusset line is, with the pocket pointing away. This ruler, Mark bought it for me because accidents and fingers and stuff. We've been trying to source some actually for the shop, but we haven't found any at a decent price. Although, what price your fingers would be, Mark's comment, I would imagine.
No.
So, put some glue on your flaps. And we're going to attach this long pocket to the back of that page, marginally away from the gusset, with the pocket pointing outwards away from the gusset, okay? Nearly there, ladies, not much more to do. Okay, so we've got our belly band and stack pocket on that side. This will be how it fits into our book, and when we open it up, we've got our long pocket here pointing outwards. Okay, so grab the page that we made earlier. Sorry, Storm. Which has got those flaps on the front with our gusset on the left hand side. I want you to turn it over so that the gusset is on the right hand side of that large page, and I want you to put your glue on this little bit that we've just made. If your belly band is on the top, I want you to put the glue on the flap facing upwards when your gusset is on the left. Ooh. So there. And I want you to attach it to this edge of that page, so the far left hand side. It will fit. You need to center it top to bottom. But you can probably do that and just eyeball it, but make sure it lines up. Okay. So what we've got now is this page here, the flaps that open, turn it over, and we've got a belly band here with a stack pocket that opens up like that with a long pocket there. Okay, how are we doing? Are you following all right? That was a big sign mark. Was that aimed at me?
I didn't say.
Oh, okay.
Did I?
It sounded like you did. Oh, I thought you were fed up with me and my gussets.
Never.
Hilarious. Right. Okay. So what we've got to do now is we've got to attach our 3 photo mats on this right hand side, and then we've got to make the pocket that goes in there, for which I've neglected to write that bit into the instructions. I think I got a bit too overexcited that I'd nearly finished. So pop that away. Storm, can you look after it for me, please? Thank you, dear. Grab your trimmer. Just knock my book over. And we are going to cut 3 of those photo mats at 6.5 by 4 inches, and you should be able to get this out of one sheet of A4. So 6.5. Oh no, you won't. You'll have to get it out of 2 by 4 inches. Oh, sorry, Storm. So 3 at 6.5 by 4 inches. And I also want you to cut, at this point, I want you to cut the closure, which I'll tell you what the size is when Storm lets me have my stuff back. Oh God, she's covered in paper. The closure is 2 by 3 inches. So I'm sure you can use one of your rough cuts for this. So 2 by 3 inches. Okay. Right. Scoreboard. We might as well do the closure first, seeing as it's what we've just cut. I want you to score on the 3-inch side at 1/2 inch and at 3/4 of an inch. So what we've got there is a 1/2 inch gusset. You might decide that you want to round your corners. You might as well do that now if that's what you're going to do, so you don't forget. So that's now my closure. Okay, the photo mats,
Or at what?
we're going to score at 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch.
That's a 1/4 inch gusset.
1/4 inch gusset, yes. So the photo mats, they're all exactly the same. We are scoring on the 6.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. And that is the same on all 3. Okay, let's pop your scoreboard away. We're only going to need it once more tonight after this. Oh, pin, glue bottle. Can't find the hole. There we go. Right. Photo mat. Fold on that score line. And then burnish. And it's the same with our closure. You're going to have a 1/4 of an inch gusset. So you're going to fold it like that. So you've got that U shape there. Okay? Nearly there, ladies. I know this is a long one tonight, but we're nearly done. Right, so retrieve your page from the nearest cat. Oh, sorry, Storm. Hang on. Oh, there she goes. And we're going to be working on this bit. So I've got my belly stack belly band there. Open that up because we are going to put our closure here. So you can measure this if you're a perfectionist, but what I want you to do is pop, oh, I shouldn't have left the lid off that. Pop some glue on that flap, and I'm going to turn this round, and I want you to attach your closure as near as possible to the edge of that score line of that gusset, halfway north to south. So this is 11 inches as I recall, or is this 12 inches? 12 inches, so you're going to sit it right in the middle, which is about there. Okay, so now my closure sits up to the gusset line. Oh, just move that. Up to that gusset line there, and sits like that. Okay? Right. Open that up. Just to just make sure it fits first. It should do for you, relief. And what we're going to do is we are going to attach our 3 photo mats, 1, 2 and 3. And the easiest way I've found to do this is to start on the extremities. So I'm going to put some glue on that flap there. And I'm going to start by attaching it at the bottom. Now I'm going to make sure that it lines up with the bottom part of my page, but I am just putting it marginally away from that gusset score line, and I'll show you closer up so that you can see. Okay, so whereas the closure we've attached right up to that gusset, this photo mat I'm attaching perhaps 1/8 of an inch away. Okay, when I'm satisfied with that, I'm going to attach the top one in exactly the same way. So lining up with the top of my page, but marginally about 1/8 of an inch or so away from that gusset score line. Okay, and that gives me my photo mat. Final one should fit pretty much exactly in between those two there. If it doesn't, and that's a bit too close for me, I'm just going to marginally trim that down just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. And that's why it's always best to put the middle one in last, so that if you have to do any adjustments, that would be the easiest one to do it for. So let's put some glue on that flap, and I'm going to attach it over that closure and line it up with the other two, so that my 3 photo mats all line up and open independently of each other. Okay, there we go. So those all line up and open up. When that shuts down there, my closure fits over the top, and there will be a magnet between those two pieces, so bear that in mind when you're decorating. You need your magnet to go there and there. Okay, right, final thing to do tonight is to attach the pocket which goes between these 2 points here, and I didn't write down the size of it, so I will tell you that we need to cut it 9 inches let me just measure this one. Can't see. By 5.5 inches. So that's 9 inches by 5.5 inches. Nine inches by 5.5 inches. And this is a simple pocket. We've made loads of these this evening. We're just going to grab our scoreboard. You'll be delighted to hear for the last time tonight. We are going to score on the 9-inch side at 1/2 inch and at 8.5 inches. I just want to double check this before I go any further. Just be sure. Yeah. Oh, what am I doing here? And then on the 5.5 inch side at 1/2 inch.
How do the instructions say 9.5 by 5?
Does it? Don't know, I haven't got my glasses on. I didn't think I'd written them down. Oh, on the original ones. Oh. It depends. Personally speaking, you can... One of the things that I find with books is that if you have your pockets too close to these edges here, things don't sit as flat as they might. So I tend to err on the side of caution, and I will chop things down a bit just to get it to fit. This fits across there now with plenty of room on either side so that it'll sit flat, and these bits will fold over the top of them. If you want to make it a bit bigger, by all means make it a bit bigger. That's entirely up to you. but I just want mine to sit flat. Either will be fine. Just make sure that you have got some space at least. The worst thing you can do is make a pocket that fits exactly in between those two score lines there, because nothing will ever sit flat. But we're working off the instructions that I'm giving you weekly. At the moment. Okay, so there's my pocket, and I'll show you what I mean. That's going to sit in between those two score lines there and there. So I've got a 1/4 inch gap on either side, and those will fold over really, really easily. If, say, for instance, I had it that bit bigger, that it butted up right against here, that will sit okay because it's got a gusset. But on this side, if I were to butt it up really close, it's not going to let that sit as easily down, if that makes sense. It's going to make it pop up a bit. It's just a little bit too tight. So pop some glue on.
Is this the pocket for back of page?
This is the pocket that goes, yeah.
5.5 by 9.5.
Yeah, but I've just said I'm doing it 5.5 by 9. You can do 9.5, but for the reasons that I've just explained, if you make it just that little bit less, it will fit. Everything will fit over it a little bit better. So you see those still stay, well, they will stay flat when it flattens itself down. If it butted up right directly to that point there, it's going to be more difficult for that to sit over it. Right, and that's it. So those fold down over the top, that folds down. And then we're going to put our magnetic closure on there, and that's all we're going to do for tonight. So your homework is to decorate all of that up. Then next week what we'll do is we will make our back page, the big 12 by 12 page. We will attach this and we will put our hinges in. The week after, we are going to devote to inserts and photo mats. Okay? So if you want to go away and decorate all that up, we'll meet back here at 7:30 next Wednesday, and we can get on with nearly finishing it. So we're not far off now. Brilliant. Okay, guys, let me know if there's any problems, and I will see you tomorrow if you're doing the Bloom Street book, and otherwise next Wednesday. All right, thank you very, very much for joining me. I'm going to go and let Mark have his tea now because I'm nice like that. Okay, bye.
Bye.